Well, good morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. And this is the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, or in the United States anyway. We observe, I would say celebrate, and we should say celebrate actually, uh, Memorial Day. And it is kind of officially the day we honor the and remember, that's why it's called Memorial Day, uh, our dead servicemen, or our servicemen that uh, in all of the endless wars that uh, have created the casualties that cause us to remember all the veterans. Um, and but when I was a kid, okay, it was really the mark the first day of summer. Usually, summer vacation would start around Memorial Day, and it's observed with picnics and it's warm enough to start going to the beach and go to the pool and things like that. I put up some goofy early 1960s songs uh, that were memorable. You know, there's something about adolescence and pre-adolescence that just burn things into your psyche. My dad always told me that he said, "Well, you're not going to believe this, but when you grow older, you're going to look back at your youth." And these days right now as absolutely magical, you know, and he used that term. These are magic times, and you just wait when you're 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, you're going to look back at the childhood uh, memories, okay, as almost a fairy tale. Okay. And fairy tales can be scary and bad and traumatic and everything else. Uh, and he's just absolutely right. But Memorial Day, usually you would get together when growing up in the Midwest in the 50s and 60s. Um, you would go visit relatives, okay? And usually under the pretense of visiting the cemetery, where uh, every year an increasing number of your relatives were residing or were anti-residing, and you put flowers on their graves. And for a while, it was called Remembrance Day, so that you just remember all the dead in your life, and that's sort of the point of my visit today. Look, I'm 76 years old. I'll be 77 next year. Not next year, next month. And when you're 77 in this day and age, uh, you live with a lot of ghosts. And every year there's more ghosts for you to live with. Not that that's a bad thing. It's good. I think they appreciate being remembered. And if we really want to get quantum physically and uh, you know, the material universe around us is made up of atoms, okay? And these atoms have been around for a long time, okay? And uh, uh, they eventually go uh, through all sorts of incarnations. For a while, they're an atom of wood or stone, or they're an atom of gold or an atom of, and what they go through in their life before they're recycled back into to some source heat of some kind is their memory. They exist to do stuff and register memory. Now, I can understand as where I watch the deterioration of, say, President Biden or other public figures that is right in front of us. I can, my heart bleeds for the loss of memory that people experience, especially in age. But the experience isn't lost. And my father died when he was like 60 or 61, I think he was. But my mother lived to be 94. Okay. But they're both dead now. But they are ghosts in my life that are as real and present as they were in life. As a matter of fact, as we grow older and don't get to see people we know as often as we used to, we see them continually as ghosts. And they still affect us. We still have a relationship with them. I lost my dear brother Mark like 8 years ago. And I'm in the position now where I am 17 years older than my father ever got. My father is always a young man to me. My older brother is now younger than I am. Their ghosts are younger than I am. And it's a strange thing. It's not depressing. I can't let it be depressing. As a matter of fact, it's kind of wonderful. There is this insanely fun, good, heavy, spiritual movie called Coco that deals with, it's a Disney film, okay? It deals with characters, ghosts, if you will, from the Day of the Dead, surrounding the Day of the Dead. If you haven't seen Coco because you think it's a kid's thing, go see it, okay? But just remember that the ghosts in your life, you have, in a sense, you're doing them a disfavor, a disservice by trapping them, crystallizing them in your memory to their attitudes and actions and behavior, and locking them in to the movie, if you will, of their life with you. You're trapping them there. Okay. And you're going to have to, instead of saying, you traumatized me, you or delighted me, or you inspired me, fine, okay. Take that as an event that you shared at the time. but shit, I'm 17 years older than my father ever got. Okay. I acknowledge, his wonderful influence, but by the same token, he is moving on too. And I have to honor his ghost as I change, I can change his ghost too. Okay, so uh, the one drawback I think in Freudian psychology is, oh yes, you're trapped in your relationship between your father and mother and everything. No, no. There's a snapshot. Okay, you revisit the snapshot, but you don't relive. You have to move on. You have to be the grown up to your ghosts. There is an OTO National Convention coming up, U.S. OTO National Convention coming up in July, just a little over a month. And I'll be recognizing my 50th year in the OTO. And usually, for the last 4 or 5 of these things, I would bring my guitar and sing a few songs. Well, to tell you the truth, speaking of ghosts, speaking of my own ghosts, the last time I actually played in public was in Santiago, Chile. And it was just for a very small group of magicians. I was there to do a lecture. Okay, and I brought my guitar, and we got together, and I sang a few songs. It wasn't a concert; it was just sort of a home thing. But at the time, everywhere I did travel, I usually set up a full-blown concert at a club, or usually at a club of some kind. And it was a life. It was like a 10-year period of my life where I sort of resurrected my music career, my songwriting career. And but the pandemic hit while I was in Chile, and the air flights were canceled and grounded for a while, and I was stuck for not long, but it was uncomfortable not knowing what was going on in Bogota, Colombia, at the airport. And I remember this because I still got the sticker on my guitar case for the airlines for Santiago. And I was due to go to Austria, and I was due to, right after that, go back to Hong Kong. It had been my 3rd trip to Hong Kong. And I'd set up engagements and stuff, but I put my guitar up. That was the last time I performed. I didn't do any more recordings or anything else. It was just like that. That part of my career had, I had to move on. I guess I had to write more books and concentrate on that. Well, I'm going back to Noticon, and Constance is forcing me to bring my guitar, at least sing a couple songs. And ask any guitar player, when you've stopped playing for 3 or 4 years, you don't just pick it up and play again. And so I've been noodling around and trying to remember my songs and trying to remember the chord positions and things like that, and the lyrics. Speaking of memory, okay. But I've got one song that I wrote after a real live dream I had of ghosts. and I'll probably put you through it right now, um, or at least my noodling around. Uh, I actually had a dream because at the time, I was traveling so much, spending so much time in hotels, and spending so much time over the anxiety of getting to the airport on time, having my luggage, um, um, packed all up, and getting to the cabs and airports, and uh, that burns in you. There's anxiety that oh, I'm always late for a plane, you know. And so here I was again. I dreamed I was in one of these hotels. Now a hotel dream is always weird because there's levels and floors in a hotel and multiple rooms. Just imagine what that might mean in your memory castle to uh, have a multi-storied building with many rooms. It's got consciousness shit written all over it. But anyway, I was in my hotel room, and I lived out of a suitcase first. I just open up the suitcase and kind of spread shit out all over the place. And the there's a knock on my hotel room door, and it's my mom and dad. Okay. And of course, it's a dream, so I don't immediately go, "Oh, wow, you're dead," Um, that comes later, okay? But right now, there's my mom and dad, okay? And they kind of barge in, and they said, "You're coming home with us." Or mom said that, okay? Dad was just sort of hanging around being cool. And I said, "Oh, you're coming home with us. We've got a cab out front. Let's go right now." And I'm thinking, I'm not due to leave here for a few days, and I'm thinking, I can't go with you now, because and I'm thinking, I've been paid, but I got to cash these checks, and I got to pay some people. I've rented a guitar, and I'm going to have to uh, pay these people. And I'm going to have to collect, my fee for singing and stuff, and I can't go with you now. And my mother snapped at me and said, "No, no, you're all paid up. Your ledger's closed." And then I thought, you're really getting on my nerves here. Why are you so insistent that? And then it dawns on me, hey, you're dead. No, I don't think I'm going to get into a cab with two dead people. you know? And I said, my suitcase is all spread out. No. And it got really weird from then on. It was like the characters were unmasked. That it was only the vestiges. It was only the shell of my parents. And there was something else going on, and the sky darkened like it did at that hotel I was staying at in Chicago once, when there was a horrible windstorm and lightning, and it was awesome. But that sort of took place. And I realized, no, this is one of those dangers. I probably have sleep apnea, and I'm suffocating to death. This is death. This is the doorway to death. And I said, no, I'm not ready for this. But anyway, I wrote a song, okay, called Last Night I Dreamed of Dead People. And when I got my guitar out yesterday to noodle around to think, do I even remember that song, But then today I thought, the Memorial Day death thing I was going to talk about, would you indulge me as I noodle around and literally try to remember that song, and I'll close Saturday morning cartoons with it if I can get through it. So. I'm surprised I could do that. Last night I dreamed of dead people, my father and my mom. They met me at a strange hotel. They'd come to take me home. My suitcase was in disarray, my packing far from done. A cab driver sat patiently and let his meter run. I said I cannot go with you. I've business left undone. I've checks to cash and debts to pay before I leave this town. My mother wailed, "You foolish boy, your ledger's closed and done." The cab driver sat patiently and let his meter run. Having difficulty there. "You're dead," I shouted angrily. "Get in that cab and go." Then lightning flashed across the sky, a mighty wind did blow. Then all the dead that ever lived throughout eternity assembled all around me there, and every one was me, and every one was me. And then before my dream dissolved into the morning sun. I shouted to the cab driver, just let your meter run. Well, that's my Memorial Day concert. I hope you attend a better one before the weekend's over. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow for Sunday school. Until then, let the meter run. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.